What's up, guys? This is Yacineygo and welcome to the OCG metagame breakdown number 6 and 7, this time covering 242 top-performing decks from 35 tournaments that were held in a bunch of countries during the span of maybe a week or something. 10 to 18, so yeah, that's like 9 days, I think, if my maths are not too garbage. Whatever, I'm not gonna use my brain. I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh player. I'm not supposed to have one in the first place. Anyways, before we go any further, you already know the drill. Smash the like and subscribe button. It really motivates me a lot to keep making videos like these. And also check out my Blue Eyes and Crystron spreadsheet. Again, the link will be at the top of the description box below on my website, yacineygo.com. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Okay, so first things first, Vanquish Soul is the #1 best deck, and honestly, by a really big shot. Like, this is actually kind of getting scary. 31.8%. I mean, it's not like tier 0 or anything close to it, but still, like, before it was 22, and it was actually really close to Yummy at 20.5, and now Yummy is doing worse, and Vanquish Soul is doing significantly better, and obviously the reason for that is because this deck, it still plays like 12 hand traps, well, 12 to 15 hand traps, because the Holy Sue is kind of like an in-engine hand trap, and it's a really scary one, and it's way better than like a Veiler or a Ghost Veil or something shitty. And also this deck doesn't lose to Shifter and can play Shifter itself, which is also very concerning. So yeah, Vanquish Soul, it doesn't really feel like a lot of things really beat this deck, and as a matter of fact, you're gonna have to like overpower it with a hardcore combo deck, but then you start losing to their hand traps. So yeah, Vanquish Soul, honestly, it's just like the perfect mid-range deck in order to beat just about everything and lose to like nothing in particular. There are a couple of cards that actually destroy Vanquish Soul completely, like the card that prevents you from like revealing, I mean, not prevents you from revealing, but the card that makes like both players' hands like be revealed at all times. Like there are a couple of cards like that. Ceremonial Bell is like one of them, and also like the Eye of Truth or something. Maybe not that one. Whatever, you get the point. Cards like these, they prevent you from like basically using your Vanquish Soul effects. Like reveal the card, and if the card is already revealed, then you can't reveal a card that's already revealed. Whatever, I've already mentioned this in the past. Yummy, okay, yeah, this deck is quite delicious and also extremely broken. It's also kind of similar to Vanquish Soul in the sense where it has a lot of starters and a lot of hand traps, but also unlike Vanquish Soul, it plays way more hand traps, but also it just loses to like anything that handles the normal summon. Like removal on your first play, it hurts like crazy, but the Sky Striker engine really helps you beat that. And most builds, I'm sure, are playing the Sky Striker engine, which does conflict with a card that is starting to see more play in Yummy, and we're gonna jump into that in a couple of seconds or minutes, maybe, I don't know. Dragon Tail #3 best deck, Majestus is the most popular build, in case you didn't know what it does. It's like a bunch of one-card combos that allow you to do like a lot, actually, like Heretic Seal and Borreload Savage Dragon, stuff like that, where you're almost turning this into a combo deck. And with the Majestus cards, you're bridging into the Dragon Tail engine because you're getting cards to the hand, and then Heretic Seal is going to be summoning the Dragon Tail Ulra or something, the Scorpion, and then it can quick fuse on the opponent's main phase, so that you can still summon the Reihu or something, I forgot the name, the one that bounces, and then you also use like the Ulra effect to like set something, and then also negate the effect of a monster on the field. It actually generates a huge amount of disruptions off of like a 1.5 card combo or something. So it's like a Majestus Spoon and I think a monster or something like that. I kind of forgot, but it's actually quite good. And yeah, the more monsters you play in Dragon Tail, the more, I guess, the better the deck is, the more you get rewarded for doing so. That's the reason why you were only seeing builds that play a lot of monsters. And also, when there's spell cards, the spell cards like bridge into monsters. Like, for example, Prime Eye to Dragon Tail. Lurely Load is also a monster, so you always have a bunch of fusion materials for your fusion-based deck, but also it's a deck that is not really that it's linear because it does a lot of different things. It just relies on like the fusion mechanics so much, right? So for example, if you de-Barricall Fusion, this deck is basically passing turn, and if you de-Barricall, I don't know, Synchro against Yummy, it's not necessarily that they pass turn because they can also like just quick sync on your turn with like the Link 1 monster and stuff. So I think this deck is a little more, it's a little better into like Floodgates potentially. And Dragon Tail, yeah, it also scoops to like Retelling Sea, which is a card that is quite popular in the OCG. But yeah, whatever. Malice, this deck is obviously always going to be broken as long as it exists. So yeah, it's tied for third best deck alongside the Dragon Tail. And then fourth best deck is Sky Striker, which is actually shocking. I was not expecting Sky Striker to actually leapfrog K9 Crystron. I guess the day has come where people are actually really down to, you know, have fun with Ray and Rose and also another card. This is like the only deck list I was able to find, although I wasn't really trying to look for too long. There's nothing like super unique there, other than the fact that this deck list is only playing 5 hand traps. But to be fair, this is a board breaker deck, and it's actually quite good going first and second. Like it's shockingly randomly really good, and I think this should be out in Duelist Advance. So it might be like one of our considerations for the NAWCQ, but I really doubt that it's gonna be able to like compete with basically everything that currently exists right now. I don't know, it's just like way too many hardcore combo decks. Also, it's not really a deck that is trying to main deck the chummies because, I mean, you can't really... There's no like real discard outlets in this deck other than like Forbidden Droplet. So yeah, you don't really want to have dead cards in a deck where, I don't know, like the value of like your cards maybe not the best. And also, am I blind or is there no multi-role in this deck? I'm not seeing a single continuous spell. And last time I checked, there are no alternative arts for multi-role because the Sky Striker deck is one of the decks with the most amount of alternative arts in the entire history of the game. This is ridiculous. Like Engage, alternate art, and then Called by the Grave, Reinforcement of the Army. It literally has like freaking Ray on it, which is insane. And then, yeah, all the Link monsters except for Kaina, I think, and Hayate. But no, actually, so yeah, it's Shizuku, Kigari, yeah, Shizuko is there, that's 0 or something. But whatever, very confusing, but you understand what I'm trying to say. This deck is actually still really good. So if you want to start considering Sky Striker, you definitely could, because I think the fact that it is the 4th best deck in a format where there's Vanquish Soul K9 really speaks volume on how potentially broken this deck could be. It's definitely something that is on my radar as well, to be completely honest with you. Anyways, K9 Crystron. Check my Crystron spreadsheet. As soon as K9 will drop, I will be updating it to have all the K9 Crystron combos. And I am absolutely not joking when I say that this deck is cracked, because it's a deck that requires like someone who knows exactly what he's doing with the deck. And this is probably one of the reasons why I think it's seeing less play. But the deck itself is actually unfair. The ceiling level of the deck going first is just like, it feels completely invincible. Like there's no real hand trap that beats me. And also, if you're scared of Artifact Lancia, the K9 engine finally fixes this issue for you. So it really has like no real flaws other than maybe Molchemi Perulia, because it was already good against Crystron, and it's also very good against K9. I'm not gonna start lying and say, oh, even that is like countered, but apart from that, I actually really can't think of a single flaw. Like Molchemi Fueros, that actually does nothing against the Crystron engine, and it's also completely terrible against the K9 engine. Like, I'll just like keep my monsters on the field and then search. I'll search a monster with Jocool, and then search like the keys that can also search a monster, or I can search X-Force Liberation, and then, you know, I can make I can use Lupus effect like OKCs on your turn. But everything that you would want to do like on your own turn, you can just do on your opponent's turn. K9 Crystron is just such a good deck at playing on both players' turns, and that's one of the main reasons why I think this deck is so good. It has a lot of control over the tempo of the game, very similarly to Vanquish Soul, but this is also like a more convoluted way of playing the deck, whereas Vanquish Soul K9, I think it kind of got streamlined to the point where everybody's kind of like playing the exact same thing, and it's also like somewhat simple. Pure K9 is not doing as well, and the reason for that is because there's no real like normal summon in the deck. Like, all of your monsters are level 5, it's a cool deck, it plays a lot of hand traps, but it doesn't really feel like you're taking full advantage of like, you know, like one of the main win condition, well, not really main win, one of the main game mechanics in Yu-Gi-Oh, which is the normal summon. You should have at least like one normal summon in your deck, so at least like a 3 of that is like very, very powerful, that you can maybe potentially like you know, search out every single time, that just gets you like really far ahead. I actually was thinking of like an Alistair the Invoker package in K9. That's not too bad. I mean, it's a normal summon that always recycles itself back. It's a 1-card Makaba. It can start negating the hand traps that would hurt the K9 engine. Honestly, it does make a lot of sense when you think about it. Maybe that could be worth exploring. Honestly, I'm not sure. But if there's like a small package with like a very, very powerful normal summon that you can think of, please let us know in the comment section, because I think K9 is the kind of deck that just needs another engine to work. Like, pure K9, to me, it makes no sense. You will never normal summon in a deck where you only play level 5 monsters, and you only summon them with their effect to summon themselves from the hand. So yeah, unless you're like trying to normal summon a Chummy so that you can Fiendsmith combo, I'm not seeing it. Maybe you're trying to play Fiendsmith K9. That honestly could also make a lot of sense. Anyways, Lunalight is another deck that is coming out in Duelist Advance, and actually this one's really good. So Liger Dancer is a monster that has 3800 attack that is unaffected by card effects except for Lunalight card effects, which does matter in case you're playing a Lunalight mirror match, so at least your opponent will be able to out your own Liger Dancer. It's kind of scary. And one really interesting thing about this deck is the fact that It has a lot of starters, but the starters, they're all kind of like normal summons, and that's a little problematic. Like, the deck is very broken going first because Liger Dancer is just like so much pressure. A lot of decks can't really out it, or at least if they can out it, they will end up losing to the effect that allows you to like destroy every special summon monster your opponent controls, so that's actually really scary. But they can still kind of out Liger Dancer despite all of that, because there's crafty ways of getting rid of a monster with 38 that's unaffected by card effects. Like, you can run over it, do Garrus can double the attack of your detonator, and then, you know, like your opponent tries to like destroy it, you just go detonator protect. That's actually somewhat of an issue. But if you have double Liger Dancer, if you have like Liger Dancer and like a big board, then you actually win. So yeah, it's a really tricky deck to play, and honestly, I'm not really sure how people will try to, you know, build the Lunalight deck. Maybe like Lunalight Tri-Brigade, Lunalight Razio. That doesn't make any sense because you're going to be locked on the rank 4s. I honestly have no freaking idea. Maybe Lunalight Gagaga. I'm just not sure. Okay, Primite Blue Eyes. Yeah, this deck is obviously always going to be a thing. Raziel, like most builds are playing Automat Raziel. Right now, a lot of players are considering that this deck is going to be the best deck for the NAWCQ, and it will be better than Raziel Mitsurugi. I cannot give my definitive answer yet. I'm not going to pretend like I know everything because I've not actually checked this out, checked this deck out yet. What I will say is that Raziel Mitsurugi, to me, it doesn't feel like the play long term, because everybody knows how to play against it. It's not like it doesn't have the surprise factor at all. Jewel and Logboard is just unfair against it. Whereas Automat Razio, it will have the surprise factor for the first event that it is going to be played in. So just because of that, even if the deck is slightly worse, it could still perform better than Raziel Mitsurugi. Because Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a very tricky game. It's a game with strategy where sometimes the lesser good deck can still perform better than the best deck, just because people are gonna have like less preparation against you. So, you know, mind games and everything, it does matter, and preparation overall. Whereas, again, Raziel Mitsurugi, there's no real edge that you have playing the deck, unfortunately. I mean, it's pretty much like dissipating. It's dissipated since like the first YCS where it was legal, which was YCS Providence. White Forest, don't really care about that deck. But yeah, Orcus, the new support, I don't really care about it either, just a lot of bricks. And also it has severe consistency issues. What, like 9 starters or something ridiculous? Bro, I've seen some builds that were so inconsistent that you had like a 20-something% chance of just doing nothing. I guess if you play like 3 Foolish Barrel Goods to send like the Crescendo, 3 Harpor, 3 like Mechanite Orcus Gearsu, yeah, that's already 9 starters. It's not too much, but then there's Foolish Burial, so that's 10. Like Symbol Skeleton is like a baby starter. It's like a shit starter, but it's still kind of something. And then there's also like Orcus Brass Bombard with like Orcus Nightmare. Oh, yeah, no, this deck needs like more good starters, and also not more like normal summon. Lawnmowing Dragontail Despia, don't really care. K9 Cyber Dragon, I keep seeing replays of this deck from the OCG online, and it's not convincing at all. It is not good. It gets like hard carried by the K9 cards, and the Cyber Dragon stuff, it just gets in the way. Anyways, Yummy Purely, I mean, they look similar, but they have like no synergy, so I really don't get it. I mean, they probably have synergy, but again, who cares? Art Media, I actually like this deck. I will be making a video on it very soon, so stay tuned. Atlantean, blah blah blah, who cares? Blah blah. Monarch, okay, wow, that's actually interesting. Lawnmowing Fiendsmith Monarch, what the frick? Anyways, Lawnmowing Infernoid, K9 Perform Pal, what the frick? Labyrinth, Mathmech Adignister, Morganite, okay. I actually want to see more of this deck. I think this deck is really cool. Anyways, Onomat Utopic. Yo, I actually have never seen a single deck list for this deck since, like, the old support. So it's actually really interesting that even with the new support, it's doing absolutely jack shit. Like, nothing at all. Anyways, Rescue Ace Fire King, what the frick is this? Raid Raptor FTK. Bro, I swear to God, the OCG sometimes. Like, how? Runic Fiendsmith Magical Musket. Nah, no shot. Shark, and then Tenpai. Tenpai at the very bottom. It's crazy. When you see, like, YCSs, Tenpai is, like, in the top 3 best decks because it's a best out of 1. And then in a real format, even Shark is, like, tied with it. Bro, Shark, man. No Toad, no Dweller. That's a nice deck you got there. Anyways, let's get into Vanquish Soul. So honestly, nothing like super interesting to cover other than the fact that, yes, no shit, you can use K9 monsters for things other than Xyz plays. So some people are playing Saryuja Skull Dread so that you can turn all the bodies into like a Link monster that makes you draw cards. And then if you have a bunch of shitty monsters like Shifter when it's dead, or like Fueros going first, or X-Force Liberation, you just place all of them back on the bottom of the deck. and you keep your 4 draws. So you can keep all the good attributes, all the good hand traps like Ash, Maxi, and, you know, stuff like that. So I really do understand the logic. And you're not always trying to make rank 5 plays in this deck, because sometimes you have, like, so much gas that it doesn't matter. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, another rank 5 when you already have the nuts? Who cares? You might as well try to dig for, like, some good cards. So yeah, it definitely does make sense. And also, Ally of Justice Quarantine, I have made a video on cards that are gaining in popularity from, you know, most recent meta trends in the OCG, and Ally of Justice Quarantine was one of them. This card prevents both players from special summoning light monsters, so it's insanely good against Yummy, but it's also good going second, because Yummy is a deck that will try to special summon on your turn. So you can normal summon Quarantine, and then all of a sudden they can't, you know, start summoning the quick effect monster, that Book of Moons, because that's maybe, like, okay against Vanquish Soul. I mean, it depends on the context. Sometimes it does nothing, but yeah, no, that's actually, like, a great card for sure. Ally of Justice Quarantine, going first or second. But it doesn't really cover that much ground. I mean, it's good against Blue Eyes, and it's good against Yummy. I think there's no other light-based strategy that I can think of. Maybe there's like 1 or 2, but yeah, who cares? Apart from that, look at this, by the way. Just in case you didn't know how many hand traps this deck actually played, there's Holy Sue, there's Izuna, so it's really nice that, you know, you have, like, inherent hand traps as a part of your strategy, and then there's the actual hand traps, so, you know, Furos, Ash, Maxi, Shifter. So I'm counting 15 hand traps if I'm not extremely stupid, right? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and then there's a decent amount of starters as well. So we're playing Raziel, Mad Love, and then Stake Your Soul, and I guess you can say, like, the Field Spell, kind of, in a way. Not really, though, because if you draw Field Spell with no Mad Love and no Raziel, you are extremely screwed. Actually, it's gonna do nothing because there's no other normal summon in the deck. But then again, there's other ways of getting your stuff going. There's combinations of 2 cards that can work. Like, there's, I think, 2 K9 monsters. I don't know if it bridges into Vanquish Soul Engine. Actually, I don't think so. Yeah, that maybe. Nah, I really don't think so, actually. I'm really gonna have to, like, look into the deck a little bit closer, because... and by the way, there was also Reinforcement of the Army. But yeah, no, I still think that this deck is, yeah, the nuts. And worst case, you don't draw any of the Vanquish Soul cards. It's not, like, the end of the world. You can always, like... I was gonna say Tribute Summon Heavy Burger. No, yeah, absolutely not. I'd rather die. But I think Jalong also has, like, a good effect to, you know, search, like, your Raisin and stuff like that. And yeah, you can still, like, basically play a pure Vanquish Soul, pure K9 deck in case you draw none of the Vanquish Soul cards. And also, if you draw the Vanquish Soul cards, then you can bridge into your K9 engine. So yeah, we're main decking 15 hand traps and then side decking an extra 7, of course. And side decking the Snow Devil. I think this is Snow Devil. That's interesting, because I think this card is really broken, so you might as well main deck it so that you have more search targets off of Mad Love, because right now the only spell or trap that you can search is the Field Spell, which is a 1-of, and I think that's, like, not enough. I would probably play 2 targets for this, because this is not like a combo deck where you kill your opponent after 1 turn. There's still, you still have to grind, right? So, I don't know. Again, I suck with the deck. It's not like I have a lot of credibility saying any of this, but I would probably just play, like, a second target so that this card is always live. Then again, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. And also, I think Mad Love has another effect. It doesn't have to, like, search. It can also, like, what, bounce back? No, that's another effect, huh? You can add, no, actually, yeah, no, that's the other effect, to, like, bounce back a monster and then lose 500 attack and defense. What the frick? Okay, yeah, whatever. All right, let's proceed. So Yummy, okay, so it's a deck that can play Dominus Purge, because every monster is light, so, you know, there's no conflicting, but it can also play Songs of the Dominators, and this card, it punishes you for playing a lot of hand traps, but then again, a lot of the hand traps, actually, there's not even that many hand traps. Actually, there's a lot. There is no Imperm in the main deck, so I really don't understand why this is even being covered, because it's not like it synergizes really well when you're not playing Imperm, but you're side decking it instead. So I remember showcasing this in my Eldritch video, but basically the more trap cards you play, the better the Dominus cards get, because then they get their bonus effect. And if you play Imperm and you have Songs of the Dominators, whatever, then you are searching Dominus Purge off of this, and then you can use it and negate and destroy, which actually feels pretty good. So you can triple hand trap your opponent off of 2 hand traps. And that's really cool, but again, we're not trying to do that, and we're still playing a lot of hand traps and board breakers at the same time with the Thrust package. Holy crap. And a pointer of the Red Lotus in the main deck. Yo, this guy's not playing around. I guess it makes sense, because you do want a pointer so that you have the knowledge, so that when you can time, like, which synchro to make when exactly. And also, if it's even worth it to, like, make... actually, no, that's irrelevant, because you're making Herald of the Arclight on your own turn. I don't think you can quick sync into, like, the non-yummy monsters. Wow, Solemn Warning in the side deck as well. Metal Chonus. I know that the Pancratops is there for the mirror match. This card is insane against this deck. You special summon Pancratops, you go battle phase, run over the Herald of the Arclight, and if they try to Book of Moon it, then you can just chain destroy the Herald, and then they have to use it. So you're basically forcing out like 2 really strong disruptions with 1 single card. So yeah, a great card for sure. But yeah, nothing else that's really worth covering. Like I said, other than the fact that Songs of the Dominators doesn't really conflict in this deck too much. And also, since you're not using monster hand shops, you're not turning on like Izuna and triple tactic cards and stuff like that. Apart from that, yeah, there's pretty much nothing to cover anymore. Vanquish Soul still broken, of course. Yummy obviously still insane. We're going to be seeing the WCQs for the Asian countries very soon. So everything that is happening right now, basically prep for Worlds Grinds for the OCG players. Even though, again, their system is dog shit because it's really insanely difficult for them to go to Worlds. So there's a lot of RNG needed, way more than in the TCG side. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know how you feel about the OCG format in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.